What up, Space Fam? Goes in here for AnimeUproar, and today we are going to be talking about the Class 1B students and all of their quirks. I actually made a similar video back in the day, but that was before we actually knew all of the quirks, and I had to speculate. Now we have a lot more information about the quirks, so it's about time for an updated video. If you want to see more videos like this one, including other updated My Hero Academia videos, make sure to smash that like button to let me know. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial, hit that notification bell so you actually know when new MHA videos drop. We have a huge playlist of My Hero Academia videos available for you on this channel already. You can now find all of our videos in audio format on Spotify and Apple Music if you look up AnimeUproar Audio, or just check out the links in the description. You can also find the link to our Twitch in the description, where we discuss the latest chapters of My Hero Academia and other popular manga live with you guys. I hope to see you there. Keep in mind there will be manga spoilers in this video. Now without further ado, let's jump into everyone's second favorite class, Class 1B. Side note, I know there will be that one guy in the comments who's like, well actually, Class 1B is my favorite, and Neito Monoma is the true protagonist of My Hero Academia. Anyways, let's start with the class welder and Momo carrier Yosetsu Awase. According to the mangaka Kohei Horikoshi, his bandana makes him look super cool, and he gets bonus points for saving our beautiful Momo from the Chainsaw Nomu. Very cool, Awase, very cool. According to the Ultra Analysis book, he got 2 out of 6 in power, a 4 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 4 in intelligence, and a 4 in ability to stop you in your tracks. His quirk is called Weld, and it allows him to fuse objects together at the atomic level if he is touching both things. This lets him attach trackers to Frankenstein-inspired creatures called Nomu. He later uses steel logs that give him more flexibility. His attack, Weldcraft, lets him quickly trap opponents by binding them with metallic logs to a wall. He used this attack on Bakugo, but Rikido, the sugar hero, was there to free him. This attack would be much more effective if Awase's logs were unbreakable and he had an unbreakable wall or floor to use. But as things stand, his abilities aren't super effective in battle. I'm sure he would make a great construction worker though. Next, let's turn to Sen Kaibara, aka Spiral, the usually calm dude of Class 1B. We're told he's a good looking dude and his statistics are pretty impressive. He got 4s in power, speed, technique, and intelligence, and a 5 in harsh way of thinking. Seems like he can be a bit of a Buzz Killington. His quirk is called Gyrate, and it lets him spin parts of his body as if they were drills. This increases his offensive abilities enough that Ojiro, the tailed Jedi, complains that he can't even guard against his swings. Sen uses a support item on his fingers that's so hard that it will drill through most people's defenses. Ojiro also mentions that his own attacks would just bounce off Kaibara because of the spinning. Ida, the straight-laced Sonic of Class 1A, catches him off guard, but Kaibara claims that he hasn't even gotten a chance to show his full power, which is impressive because he was already easily outclassing Ojiro. His teacher even says that Kaibara was the real MVP of the battle because his drill quirk was wearing down his opponents like Ida, even when it didn't seem like it. I definitely expect big things from this guy in the future. Spiral energy for the win. Togaru Kamakiri is next, the guy with an insect-looking face and hella cool hair. He's pretty much the Scyther of Class 1B. He scored a 4 out of 6 in power, 4 in speed, 3 in technique, 3 in intelligence, and 5 in sharpness. His quirk Razor Sharp allows him to produce blades from all over his body, like from his forearms. He would make for an excellent assassin if he didn't stand out so much. The blades are sharp and strong enough to cut through metal pipes, and they can even withstand explosions. A very cool power, even if it couldn't do much against the Baku goat. Shihai Kuroiro is also known as the scheming hero, Vanta Black. He's the Fumikage of Class 1B. He can also get pretty dark and dramatic when he talks. He scored a 2 out of 6 in power, a 4 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 2 in intelligence, and a 4 in appearing out of nowhere. His quirk is called Black, and it allows him to merge into anything that is dark. He can move dark things he's merged into if they can normally move. For instance, at one point he merged with Fumikage's quirk Dark Shadow and had it attack Fumikage. He can travel insanely fast when merged with the darkness and shadows in an area. He was able to grab Aoyama and carry him off before he or Momo could react. However, as with Fumikage, light is his natural weakness and can significantly limit his quirk's effectiveness. Itsuka Kendo, aka Battle Fist, is a pretty and cheerful girl with man hands. She is the big sister of Class 1B and the class representative. Kendo is the one who karate chops Neito Monoma when he gets out of hand. She scored a 5 out of 6 in power, a 3 in speed, a 3 in technique, a 5 in intelligence, and a 5 in big sis. Her quirk is called Big Fist, and as the name suggests, it lets her make her fists big. Her gigantic hands increase the power of her attacks and let her easily grab people. It's amazing that she can not only lift her giant hands, but she can even lift and carry other people with them without a problem. She can use her hands to create gusts of wind powerful enough to clear an area of gas. During her joint training battle, Kendo comes up with her team's strategy and she goes on to fight Momo one-on-one. Momo creates a shield out of tungsten, a metal that is much harder than steel and more resistant to fracturing than diamond. Yet, the shield is no match for Kendo's hands, and Kendo manages to send Momo flying back. Her special move, Double Jumbo Fist, increases the speed and strength of her strikes even more. She waits for the moment of impact to grow her fists. Kendo's team goes on to beat Momo's team, in large part because of her strategizing and strength. Fun bonus fact, according to the popularity polls, Kendo is the most popular student in Class 1B. Let me know who your favorite Class 1B student is in the comments and use your possibly giant hands to smash that like button. Yui Kodai, aka Rule, is a quiet girl and often comes off as emotionless. She can seem cold, but she does care about her classmates and will help them when the chips are down. Yui scored a 2 out of 6 in power, a 3 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 3 in intelligence, and a perfect 6 in coolness. Her quirk is called Size, and it lets her change the size of non-living things that she touches. She can for instance shrink something, throw it at an opponent, and then return it to its normal size with her quirk, so that it delivers maximum damage to the opponent. Alternatively, she can take something small and increase its size. Kinoko Komori, aka She-Mage, is the mushroom girl of Class 1B. Her eyes used to be completely covered by her hair, and she wore a gloomy expression, but we saw her eye and her more upbeat side during the joint training battle. You can also count on her to provide shroomerific mushroom-based puns. She scored a 1 out of 6 in power, a 1 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 3 in intelligence, and a 4 in idol. The last category is a reference to her desire to become a famous idol. Not surprisingly, Kinoko's quirk is called Mushroom. Her quirk lets her shoot spores from her body that instantaneously grow into fields of mushrooms. The mushrooms spread and grow faster in humid conditions, which is why she uses a squirt gun that raises the humidity of her surroundings. The mushrooms can spread across an insanely large area, and they even grow on people's bodies, as seen during the joint training battle. When Fumikage catches her, she uses split gill shrooms to attack his lungs. Neito comments that Kinoko is truly an opponent to fear because of her quirk. Fumikage is rendered pretty much powerless. Kinoko apologizes and lets Fumikage know that he can get some medicine from Recovery Girl. It might not surprise you that Kinoko's favorite things are mushrooms. Ibara Shiozaki, aka Vine, has vines for hair. Ibara is portrayed as a super religious person who thinks she's superior to those around her. She uses religious names for her attacks like Crucifixion and Faith's Shield, while referring to others as sinners. She scored a 3 out of 6 in power, a 4 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 2 in intelligence, and a 5 in holiness. Her quirk is called Vines. She can manipulate her hair vines as she pleases. The vines can grow extremely long and even travel through the ground. She uses them for attack, defense, and/or to grab people. She can detach the vines at will, and they will regrow if her hair gets enough sunlight and water. During the joint training battle, she covers the whole area of the battlefield with her vines in order to drag out Kaminari. Then, she encases him inside an orb of vines. Another interesting thing about her is that in accordance with her religious theme, her hero costume is just a plain white robe. She's already OP, and I'd guess she'd be even more formidable if she got some more helpful customized equipment. Jurota Shishida, aka Jevudan. he is clearly inspired by the Beast from X-Men, who also wears glasses, is covered with fur, and has teeth protruding from his lower lip. I mean, Jurota's quirk is even called Beast, and homage doesn't get any more obvious than this. He speaks intelligently and shows respect in his normal form, but gets more wild when he transforms. He scored a 5 out of 6 in power, a 4 in speed, a 3 in technique, a 3 in intelligence, and a 5 in way with words. As mentioned, his quirk is called Beast. It allows him to enter Beast mode, which gives him a massive boost in strength, hearing, vision, and sense of smell. The transformation also makes him wildly enthusiastic. In this mode, he towers over most opponents. He's fast and strong enough to sneak up on Kirishima and send him flying. He can also change back into human mode in mid-air to dodge an attack and then quickly transform back to beast mode. He uses this to grab both Kirishima and Koji at the same time. His speed, power, and senses definitely make him one of the most dangerous students in Class 1B, and his favorite things are taking naps. I can definitely relate to that. Nirengeki Shoda, aka Mind, is a chubby, humble dude who looks like he loves Dragon Ball Z. His costume consists of what looks like a scatter over his left eye and a dragon radar on the back of his hand. His statistics are impressive despite Shoda's humbleness. He scored a 5 out of 6 in power, a 3 in speed, a 4 in technique, a 4 in intelligence, and a 5 in Class 1B's conscience. His quirk is called Twin Impact. We are told that after striking an object, Shoda can activate a second strike remotely. That second hit will have a ton more oomph to it. In other words, anything struck once will receive a second stronger blow. After Ochako used her ability to make a number of objects float, Shoda used Twin Impact to send them flying at them again with even greater force. He uses the ability to run faster, jump higher, and strengthen his attacks. When not training or battling, Shoda likes to watch boxing matches. Pony Tsunotori is a shy and naive foreign student who is still learning Japanese. Neito takes advantage of this and teaches her insults to use against Class 1A. She is actually an English speaker and uses English when she gets angry. She scored a 3 out of 6 in power, a 4 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 3 in intelligence, and a 5 in broken English. Her quirk is called Horn Cannon, and it lets her shoot her horns as if they were cannonballs. New horns grow back soon, and she can shoot those too. She can control up to 4 horns at a time. The horns can create enough force to send Ojiro into jail during the joint training battle. One horn is strong enough to lift a person, and she uses her horns to place herself and 3 other people out of Shoji's reach. High in the sky, Shoji cannot touch her, and the match ends up in a draw thanks to her. Pony's favorite thing is anime, so I'm sure we can all relate to her. Kosei Tsuburaba is a plain dude who is fine with settling for less, in contrast to characters like Bakugo and Midoriya who are driven to aim for the top. He scored a 2 out of 6 in power, a 3 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 4 in intelligence, and a 5 in got your back. His quirk is called Solid Air, and it allows him to solidify the air he breathes out. I never saw this kind of superpower before, but it's very interesting. Kosei can make platforms, walls, and even soundproof confinement cells of solidified air. Since he has to breathe the air out, his quirk is limited by his lung capacity. He was captured during the joint training battle, but all he could think about was the fact that Tsuyu's tongue had been all over his body. TetsuTetsu, aka Real Steel. He is a Silver Surfer clone of Kirishima, and even his name points to his repetitiveness. TetsuTetsu can be loud, arrogant, and has a very straightforward fighting style. He's also brave and threw himself in front of a bullet for Big Sis Kendo. He scored a 5 out of 6 in power, a 2 in speed, a 2 in technique, a 3 in intelligence, and a 5 in manliness. He actually didn't score as high as Kirishima in this last category, since Red Riot got a perfect 6 out of 6 in manliness. TetsuTetsu's quirk is called Steel, and it allows him to turn his skin into steel, giving him a strong defense and offense. TetsuTetsu's quirk seems to be fueled by his iron intake. If he doesn't have enough iron in his system, his steel skin will lose its durability. When using his quirk, he can withstand giant robots falling on him and bullets being shot at him. His steel skin gives him immunity to freezing and resistance to heat, but it will eventually melt if the heat gets high enough. TetsuTetsu breaks through Todoroki's ice with no problem. He gets Todoroki, a recommended student and one of Class 1A's best, to go on the defensive. He survives what appears to be Todoroki's best efforts to overwhelm him with his flames. He even shouts back no running away when Ida runs off with a passed out Todoroki. He pushes a giant structure down on Ida and takes him out of commission before passing out himself. It was an extremely impressive and manly spectacle. When he's not training to death, TetsuTetsu likes eating spinach and playing fighting games. Setsuna Tokage, aka Lizardy, is described as confident, talkative, and provocative. Many Class 1B students look to her for leadership. Her statistics are amazing. She scored a 3 out of 6 in power and 5s in speed, technique, intelligence, and all over the place. Her quirk is called Lizard Tail Splitter, and it is similar to Buggy the Clown's powers from One Piece. She can split her body into 50 different pieces and control them. The pieces can even fly and regenerate. However, regeneration is very exhausting, and she would prefer to recall all of her body parts if possible. It is also suggested that she needs to return parts of her body every so often to reset their time limit. She can use her quirk to spy on people, track down people, distract people, or to attack them. Obviously, the attacks aren't super powerful, but there's a pretty good trade-off since she's also practically invincible. Bakugo comments that the pieces that attacked him were too small to target, and even if they did manage to get hit, Setsuna could regenerate. A fun fact about the talented Setsuna is that she likes dinosaurs. Manga Fukidashi, aka Comic Man, is the WTF character within the anime. I don't even know how he makes sense within a world as crazy as My Hero Academia, but I ain't complaining. He's clearly a source of meta humor for Horikoshi, who is himself a kind of comic book hero. Manga scored an impressive 5 out of 6 in power, a 4 in speed, a 3 in technique, a 3 in intelligence, and a 1 in vocabulary. That last score might be some self-deprecating humor from Horikoshi, where he's playing off the stereotype that comics are inferior to high literature, which tends to pay a lot of attention to language and vocabulary. Manga's quirk is called comic, and it lets him materialize onomatopoeias into reality. So pretty much he can make sound effects come true. Sounds like BAM can actually create destruction, and words that suggest humidity can actually make the surrounding area humid. If he overuses the quirk, he'll get a sore throat. It may not surprise you to learn that manga likes drawing in his free time and making children smile, just like a real-life mangaka. Juzo Honenuki, aka Mudman, looks like the attack titan of Class 1B. He got into UA on recommendations like Todoroki and Momo. He hates losing, but he is willing to make a strategic retreat when conditions are not favorable. His statistics are very impressive. He scored a 3 out of 6 in power, and then 5s in speed, technique, intelligence, and flexible thinking. His quirk is called Softening, and it lets him soften any non-living thing he touches. He can also release the effect and return things back to normal. Like an earthbender, he can turn solid earth into quicksand in order to immobilize his opponents. He is able to swim through material he softens, giving him a huge advantage over his immobilized opponents. He's the one that finally stops Todoroki in the joint training battle. In addition to being super smart, strong, and talented, Juzo can also speak English and has conversations with Pony in English. Kojiro Bondo, aka Plamo, has a very unique look. He is another student like manga who is hard to take too seriously. He is like a walking talking tube of glue. He's described as a gentle giant similar to Koji from Class 1A. He scored a 4 out of 6 in power, a 3 in speed, a 3 in technique, a 3 in intelligence, and an impressive 5 in adhesive strength. This guy sure would have been useful in elementary school. His quirk is called Semedyne, which is actually a kind of glue that is popular in Japan. Kojiro's quirk lets him squirt copious amounts of fast-drying glue from the many holes in his head. He can apparently control how quickly the glue dries. It's a good quirk for trapping people and for gluing things together. During the joint training battle, he made the entire area sticky with his glue, but Bakugo was not about to let that stop him from winning. Kojiro likes to put together plastic models, and the best part is that he never has to pay for glue. Neito Monoma, aka Phantom Thief, is the guy you love to hate. He is jealous of Class 1A's popularity, and his life mission seems to be to beat Class 1A. Because of his quirk, Neito thinks that he can never be the main character in the story, only a side character, which is sad because it's totally true. He is a side character, but at least he's an entertaining one. And in his defense, he is always supportive of his fellow classmates. He scored a 1 out of 6 in power, a 1 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 5 in intelligence, and a perfect 6 in provocation. Neito's quirk is called called Copy, and it allows him to copy a person's quirk after he touches them. He is able to hold 4 quirks at a time, but he can't use them simultaneously. He needs to switch back and forth between them. The limit of each quirk runs out 10 minutes after he touched the original user. When it comes to quirks that require stored power, like One For All, he cannot effectively copy them, and he cannot copy quirks that include extra body parts, like Ojiro's tail. He is also limited by the strength of his own body. Neito's quirk is awesome because he can pick the best quirks available and use his intelligence to put them to good use in battle. He has no problem using quirks like Kirishima's Harden or Yui's Size effectively in battle. Horikoshi has revealed that Monoma is based on a real person, and that makes sense because I think we have all had a Monoma in our life at one point or another. Reiko Yanagi, aka Emily, is the spooky girl of class 1B who walks around like a zombie. She is usually quiet and emotionless. She scored a 2 out of 6 in power, a 3 in speed, a 5 in technique, a 3 in intelligence, and a 5 in fixation of hands. Her quirk is called Poltergeist, and it allows her to manipulate nearby objects. She can't move more than the total weight of a single person at a time. Her power can work especially well in conjunction with Yui's Size quirk. While Reiko launches a number of small objects at the enemy, Yui can make them much larger and heavier right before they hit the enemy. When she isn't being spooky on the battlefield, Reiko enjoys internet surfing. Hiryu Rin, aka Dragon Shroud. He is a foreigner like Pony, except he appears to be from China. He scored a 3 out of 6 in power, a 3 in speed, a 4 in technique, a 5 in intelligence, and a 5 in Chineseness. His quirk is called Scales, and it allows him to grow tough scales on his skin like a reptile. In a sense, his power is similar to Kirishima's hardening, and it increases his defensive and offensive abilities. Rin can also fire his scales at opponents with significant strength and speed. So scale bullets plus scale armor pretty much sums up his quirk. Bonus points go to Rin for choosing a dragon theme for his hero persona because dragons are very cool and everyone knows it. And that is it for today's video. I bet this video is going to be pretty long when it's all done. Since these types of videos always take long to make, it would really mean a lot to me if you could smash that like button to help with the YouTube algorithm, and if you could share this video with a friend. If you haven't, be sure to subscribe, and this is crucial, hit that notification bell so you actually know when new MHA videos come out. For more content and updates on the new MHA seasons, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at AnimeUproar. A special thank you goes out to our patrons over on Patreon who help us survive YouTube issues and who help make videos like this one possible. I especially want to thank our Pro Hero tier patrons, the one and only Gilgamesh, Nothing But a Fan, Jason Wilson, King Zeldris, $50 Beat, Anatoly Kazatsky, Alpha Dio, Angel Cruz, and Team Sparky 65. And are the 1-tier patrons, the ones who stand atop all clans: Steven Ingrata, Alola Natem, Matty Mac 239, Makoto Kun, The World, Steelers, Tyson Quirino, and the school bus. Thank you all so much. If you enjoy our work, you can support more of it by going over to patreon.com/AnimeUproar and becoming a patron today for as little as $1. If you do so, you'll get your name featured in future videos alongside these amazing people right here, and you'll even get access to our private patron-only Discord where we talk about anime, life, and of course, dank memes. So check out patreon.com/AnimeUproar, link in the description if you're interested. You can also now join the YouTube channel and support more content that way if you prefer. Whichever way you choose to support us, you can get the same great benefits. Until next time, see you, Space Cowboy.